Live. All right. Would like to call to order the regular monthly meeting of the Spalding County Board of Elections and Registration. If everybody would, please silence your cell phones and all other electronics devices. And if you would stand with me, going to have the invocation and pledge. So, sure. Either one of y'all.
I'm more than willing.
All right.
Our Father, which art in heaven, we come before thee this evening to pray that thy Spirit would be with us to guide and direct us in our deliberations, that all things might be done according to the best interests of the voters of Spalding County, that we might be guided and directed by thee. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Amen. All right. Other Jim with the pledge then. How about that?
Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Kind of feel like Newhart. There, got Jim and my other board member, Jim.
Yep. You're supposed to be calling me James.
I know. It's my bad. All right. Next up, citizen comment. Speakers must sign up prior to the meeting and provide their names, addresses, and the topic they wish to discuss. Speakers must direct your remarks to the board, not to individual board members or to the audience. Personal disagreements with individual board members or employees are not a matter of public concern, and public personal attacks will not be tolerated. The chairman has a right to limit your comments in the interest of disposing of the board's business in an efficient and respectable manner. Speakers will be allotted 3 minutes to speak on their chosen topics as they relate to matters pertinent to the jurisdiction of the Board of Elections and Registration. No questions will be asked by any board members during citizen comments. Outbursts from the audience will not be tolerated. Common courtesy and civility are always expected during the meeting. No speaker will be permitted to speak for more than 3 minutes or more than once unless the board votes to suspend this rule. All right, we just have one tonight, Kristen Neighbors. Yes, ma'am.
My name is Kristen Neighbors. I'm the State Director for All Voting is Local. We are a nonpartisan organization that advocates for policies that aid counties in running safe and secure elections. Today I'm here to talk about hand counting. I know that Spalding County recently decided to hand count its elections going forward, even beyond the risk-limiting audits we already do after every federal general election. I will say up front that I think this effort is misguided. I believe that the supporters of hand counts overlook the many drawbacks of hand counting. Even apart from the additional cost to taxpayers, nonpartisan election experts overwhelmingly agree that machines are the way to get the most accurate count. Hand counting is tedious and monotonous. Human beings are not great at tedious and monotonous tasks. Are you saying you can't hear me?
No, ma'am.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Thank you.
Okay. People get tired, people lose count, people make mistakes. Is this better? Okay, great. The RLA results from the last several cycles prove that our machines counted the results accurately and that our election officials conducted a secure election. Back in 2020, when we did a statewide hand recount for the presidential race, Spalding County had no discrepancies. The results after the hand count were exactly the same as the machine count. Regardless, since Spalding will be conducting a hand count, I would encourage you to consider, 1, doing a test run or several so you can identify and resolve issues before you're counting actual ballots. This will also let you better judge how many workers you'll need to conduct the hand count. In Arizona, Mojave County's Board of Supervisors, which originally supported hand counts, they voted against using them in the future elections after their test run took 3 days to count 850 ballots. Another county in Nevada took 7 hours to count just 317 ballots. 2, I would encourage you to count just one race, which would make it much simpler to conduct the recount, because recounting just one race, you can just do a stack and count procedure versus a more complex read and mark process where somebody has to call out each race on the ballot so that the other workers can keep the tallies. And finally, as you'll be counting more ballots than you would have been doing in the RLA, the chance for human error will be greater. Discrepancies between the machine count and the hand count are to be expected just due to human error, but any such discrepancy, no matter how small, could be used to cast doubt over the final count or fuel conspiracy theories, possibly even about your hardworking election workers who are doing the counting. We're living in a time of rampant disinformation. We can't allow this disinformation to risk the safety of Georgia's election workers. We recommend allocating additional resources to training all election workers involved into combating disinformation that may follow the hand count. As I mentioned at the outset, I agree with the nonpartisan election experts that a machine count followed by a risk-limiting audit is the best way to count ballots. It's fast, it's accurate, and the RLA acts as a security check. But if you do move forward with the expanded hand count, I urge you to do it in a way that protects the needs of your staff and your election workers, considers the cost to taxpayers, and provides us with an accurate and timely count. Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, next up, adoption of the agenda. We've got, two changes that I know of we need to make. I don't know if anybody has anything else. Kim asked that we add to approval of the minutes, that we approve the minutes from the special call meeting that was also on August 8th.
I'll make that motion.
All right, second, okay. All in favor of amending the agenda to add that, okay? That carries. The other item was the proclamation that Dexter sent in. Stephanie advised that we needed to discuss and/or vote on it before sending it over to the county, so. And yeah, that would be under new business, so
I move that we amend the agenda to add that proclamation.
to
To
add discussion.
Discussion
Okay.
of the proclamation, yes.
Very good, okay, and that would be E under new business. Do we have a second? I think Roy was first. All right, all in favor? All right, that's added, it carries. Do we have anything else? Everybody good? Motion would be in order to adopt the agenda as amended.
Make such a motion.
Roy made the motion.
Second?
Oh,
No problem.
all right, very good. Dexter second. All in favor of adopting the agenda as amended? Aye. All right, it carries. Okay, next up, approval of the minutes. Consider approval of the minutes for the Spalding County Board of Elections registration for August 8th, regular call meeting and special call meeting. Has everybody had a chance to take a look? Motion would be in order to adopt the minutes or amend.
I move that we approve the minutes as written.
All right. Second, Dexter. All in favor? 5-0 carries. Okay. Kim, you're up next. Report of the election supervisor.
Good evening. IGA City of Intergovernmental Agreement with the City of Griffin Elections and Board of Education Elections. I would like to extend a heartfelt thank you to County Attorney Stephanie Wyndham, the Griffin Spalding County Board of Education, the City of Griffin, the Spalding County Board of Commissioners, and to you, the Board of Elections and Voter Registration, for working together to address the need of updating the IGAs as hopefully approved tonight. Qualifying for the November 7th, 2023 general municipal and special election. Just a reminder that there is a special election. Also, that would be the East Blost, and all 18 precincts will be open for this election. Prior to sharing with you the candidates who qualify, just a reminder on State Election Board Ruling 183 01-11.02. I'm not going to read all that, but I do want to point out one specific paragraph, number 2. A candidate's name may include a nickname by which the candidate is commonly known in the community, but shall not contain any spurious phrases, title, or degree designating the business, fraternal, religious, or professional affiliation of the candidate, or political slogan or message. A title or degree includes but is not limited to military or professional title or rank, or references such as doctor, reverend, judge, Mr., Mrs., Miss, Mrs., or Miss. A termination as to whether a nickname violates the rule lies within the sound discretion of the Secretary of State of Election Superintendent as appropriate. So just wanted to remind you all as the board, the public, our voters, that this is the rule that we follow. And as you'll see on the next page in red, whenever we submit any candidate information to the media, to you all, it will reference the candidate as they will appear on the ballot. Individuals as qualified, August 25th by 4:30 p.m. City of Griffin Mayor and Commissioners Districts 2 and 4. For City of Griffin Mayor, Douglas Sinclair Holberg, incumbent, Yoshunda Jones, and Daoud Amin. City of Griffin Commission District 2, Rose M. Curtis. City of Griffin Commission District 4, Charles Brad Wright. And Idi E. Akuda. Individuals as qualified August 25th, 4:30 p.m. for City of Orchard Hill Council seat at large, Kenneth N. Spradlin and Martha M. Morgan. And that concludes that. Do you have any questions on candidate qualifying? So in regards to injunctions, you all received this email from County Attorney Stephanie Wyndham. Just as a reminder, I've included it in your package there. So there are 3 injunctions. One order denying motion for preliminary injunction as to drop box and ballot harvesting prohibitions, and an order granting motion for preliminary injunction as to absentee birth date requirement, an order granting motion for preliminary injunction as to criminal enforcement for line warming in supplemental zone. So just wanted you to be familiar. You've received those in your email, and you actually have the injunctions. If you want to read through those, you can. Just want to make you aware. Voter registration update, if you want to flip, as I read along, Sandra Hardy has provided the voter registration update. And as voter registration dated August 1st through August 31st, this is the data. Processing, we have processed 258 new voters into Spalding County. We have processed 313 voters that have transferred from another county or within the county, meaning address change. We have begun the process of 56 felons, mailed letters, and started the 40-day clock. We have processed 24 deceased voters, 31 moved out of county voters. We have mailed 1,143 no-contact confirmation notices, and of those, we have had 10 that were returned mail as of today. We have mailed 1,272 NGE, that's no action for 2 general elections confirmation notices, and of those, 450 were returned mail, and only a small amount, less than 10, were updates. Precinct cards have been delivered to our office. And I want to remind you here, ever since, and I've continued to report to you monthly, that ever since the implementation of Jarvis in January, we have not received any voter registration precinct cards for new voters or voters who have made changes. So this has been a work in progress for the state. And this number here, or what we have received, were transactions that took place in the first 2 to 3 weeks of August. That's our understanding through the communication from the state. So what we received, we were able to mail out 2,651. There were an additional 494 precinct cards that were not mailed due to canceled felon or deceased status. When we received notice that the precinct cards were coming into us, there was just a simple note there to please review before mailing out. So I did just a quick check, and we began seeing, so we went through over 3,000 precinct cards to ensure that we were mailing out precinct cards that should be going out. The state's aware of this issue, and they have communicated to us that it has been corrected. So if you would like a breakdown of those 494, just a page or two over, you'll see the canceled, deceased, the canceled, no activity, the different reasons, the different statuses of these precinct cards that were unable to be mailed. Any questions on that? Okay. And I want to thank Mary Passmore also. She generated that report for us, kept tabs on the breakdown of those precinct cards. Jarvis update, most recent update was September the 8th with enhanced navigation tools for tiles used in daily workflow. The awaiting print tile has been updated to feature new templates to felon, canceled, deceased, and pending citizenship letters. In conjunction with the Jarvis report tool, the Secretary of State's office has provided us with an additional portal of reports. These reports will be on demand rather than overnight. We've had access to this portal for a little bit, not all counties, so it's somewhat new to all 159 counties all at one time. So this will be an additional portal that we'll have to keep track of with those reports as what is generated through Jarvis itself, which is the election and voter registration system. Potential duplicate tile is still not catching all duplicate voters, and I reported this to you. We have seen improvement on this. I'm just going to sum this up for you right here. What we're seeing is still the 17-and-a-half-year-old, they can register. Someone can register when they're 17 and a half years old, but they are not a registered voter until they turn the age 18. So they are in a pending. They're pending. So what we're seeing is once they have rolled over to become a registered active voter, it is creating a duplicate registration number. We're catching those. We have come up with a method with the help of in-house in Spalding County of how to look at that and how to filter our election report to ensure that we're catching any duplicates at all. So that is the update on that. Upcoming list maintenance, these are things that are upcoming or just have been in process. Some of you may be familiar with ERIC, Electronic Registration Information Center, cross-state mailing. Took place on September the 11th. The Secretary of State will be mailing notices to voters who appear to have recent activity on another ERIC member state voter roll. A reminder there, not every state participates in this, only specific states. Of the estimated 82,077 notices, we are expecting 330 notices to be mailed to Spalding County voters. ERIC cross-state county mailing. This means within the SOS will send to our office NCOA notices. That is no change of address. What they do here is they go in and they take the voter registration address, compare it to the USPS address. If it doesn't match, a confirmation notice is generated, mailed to the voter, and allows the voter the opportunity to update their information. NCOA, out-of-county mailing, our office will be receiving notices for voters who have filed an out-of-county change of address with USPS. Target mail date is the week of September the 18th. Of the estimated 46,000 notices, we are expecting 603 to be mailed to Spalding County voters. So there's a lot of confirmation process going on right now, and that we're tracking and processing those changes when they come in to us, whether it is returned mail, we enter that into the system, or whether it's they moved out of state and they're notifying us of that, or whether it is a change of address within the county. Any questions? Sorry. Let me flip back to my report.
No questions?
Okay, so going back to my
Does anybody else want
report.
to be in charge of Jarvis? Lord.
I want to tell you, it has been and continues to be a work in progress. We see improvements in Jarvis, but I'm being upfront with you as the Board of Elections and Voter Registration in Spalding County, that it is still a work in progress. And we hope to continue to see those improvements. I know there are many people working hard on those.
The secondary portal to pull like just-in-time reports? Like, what is that checking against? And are y'all having to do stuff with it every day to check things, or just when changes come across, or?
Well, it's pretty much from what we can see, because this just happened about a week ago, Sandy. We don't see right now where there is a routine of how reports are generated through this portal. But what we do is we're looking at that each day, as long as, just as we would work our tiles across the Jarvis board, the election and voter registration panel. We work that the same, but it's moved OCs, moved out of county, I'm sorry, I shortened that, moved out of state, and you know what else I might be missing? I'm not sure if it's the vital report comes through a different, that comes through our Jarvis, panel there. But they're just, and then the alpha list of voters comes through there as also as well. So not sure why we have some of the same information on two different things. I do understand that this is an on-demand report system, so, which should be, there have been many times we have seen in past elections where you needed a report right away. You didn't need to have to wait till the next morning, the following morning, to get that report. So, that is one of the differences there.
Okay.
State Election Board meeting, just a reminder here, well, that is, I'm sorry, but I had updated that, but it didn't. Sorry about that, guys. But what I wanted to let you know is it's not in Carrollton, Georgia. It's going to be in Atlanta on October the 3rd. So disregard on the State Election Board meeting, and I will be sending you an update. Same date, but they're going back to Atlanta for the State Election Board meeting. Precinct health checks, just to update you here, this is not an act that the state has mandated us to do. Of course, they encourage it, but we have taken it upon ourselves to conduct precinct health checks, and Perry Cron is leading the effort in that. And pretty much we're going to our precincts and making sure everything looks good, that it's in order. So this continues to be very advantageous. I had reported to you last time that it would be completed by the end of August, but due to the precinct facility managers needing to request rescheduling, we have worked with them on that, and so it will be completed by the end of September. And most of them are completed now. It's just only a few that we have outstanding. That concludes my report, if you do not have any questions.
Anybody have anything else? Thank you so much, Kim.
Thank you.
All right, old business up next, approval of bylaws.
We've been working on the bylaws for approximately 10 months, and
Jim,
Pull the mic so
Oh,
Mr.
okay.
Aaron gets it.
some of the drivers to that were some legislation in prior years of Senate Bill 202 and House Bill 769. But I think we made some improvements in that the bylaws provide guidance not only for the election board, but also for the election supervisor and for the employees. So we feel that we have a better document at this time. And you'll hear some of the specifics when the chair speaks about the resolutions regarding the election supervisor.
Okay. Great. Does anybody else have any comments on bylaws at this point? So,
Just to be clear real quick, the bylaws, and I know Jim realizes this, but I just want to make sure everyone does in the public, but the bylaws and the, not the proclamation.
resolution.
Thank you, resolution, are two separate
Yes.
items.
Right.
So,
I'll go ahead and try to take a hack at it, and Stephanie, let me know if I'm speaking out of school here. So we've actually got under new business, a resolution for duties delegated from the board to the election supervisor. House Bill 769 basically said the board's in charge of everything. And so bylaws consistent with 769, 202, State Election Board Code, OCGA. So for us to have that in place, we needed to do a follow-up resolution to delegate specific duties to the election supervisor. So that's what we're gonna be doing under new business. How'd I do?
Great.
That usually takes me 10 minutes to explain something, so. Okay, the only thing I had that I hadn't brought up with the bylaws was if any political party, couldn't appoint someone, it then would go to the county commissioners. I know that's how it is in lots of other counties, not saying that's wrong or bad or anything like that. What 769 established for Spalding County was that the fifth member, was to be, appointed by the, by the Superior Court, Superior Court judges, versus commissioners, which commissioners, county commissioners actually appoint. in
Mr.
lots of other
Chairman,
counties.
that is actually that is for the fifth board member, but the county governing authority only would act to appoint if the parties fail to
Fail.
make their appointments.
Right,
And that
that's-
is in 769 as a
That-
requirement.
That already is in 769.
Yes.
Okay, and is there a time limit spelled out for that?
Well, the time limits are spelled out in 769 for appointments as far as when appointments should be made. And so if those appointments are not made within those time
Within that time,
periods,
then that kicks in.
then the Board of Commissioners would be asked to make those appointments. So as long as the parties, as the local parties do their duty and appoint,
Right.
then that will never be an issue.
Right, and that's how it was prior to 769.
And it is
as well,
still
as far
the
as there being a
same.
time clock. Okay.
And it is still the same.
All right, that I think was the only thing that, or question or point of clarification, I guess, that I had. Does anybody else have anything with the
Ju-
bylaws?
Just for the record, that process is anything but clear, but it is established in law, so we have to follow it. But it is not clear, it is not easy to figure out which day, who's supposed to do what, when, and where, and how. That's just a comment. I'm not asking you to change anything because it's already in law. But it's not clear.
So you feel my House Bill 769 pain?
I do. I've shared it with our local legislators on a number of occasions as well.
All right, motion would be in order to approve the bylaws.
Make,
Roy, Dexter, second. Do we have any further discussion? All in favor? 5-0, carries. We've got bylaws. All right, new business. All right, so thank you, Kim, for figuring all this stuff out, so we didn't have to. We're gonna need to reschedule, November and December regular monthly meetings. Request is to reschedule November 14th meeting, at 6 PM to 10 AM. And we do it at the Office of Elections and Voter Registration versus here. And then due to scheduling of the Georgia Voter Registration Election Officials Association training, or GAVRIO, in Athens, request to reschedule the December 12th meeting to December 5th to be held at 5 PM, same location. So, motion will be in order to,
Just,
Oh,
and that's due to
yeah.
the first one is due to certification.
Yeah,
So I just
yeah.
want to make clear there, that's the reason that's being suggested to change that to the Board of Elections and Voter Registration Office at 10 o'clock a.m. because certifying has to take place by a certain time.
and just to be clear, the public has an opportunity to be
Sure.
there.
yep.
I
same-
sure do.
Same as any other meeting.
I move that we reschedule the November 14th
Point
and
of order.
December 12th meetings per this request.
You have to have it.
If you get a second, then we
Yeah,
can
we get a
discuss it.
second. Do we have a second? We
Second.
discuss. Roy, second. James first. And what's the question, Dexter?
The question is, on the December 5th meeting, is it a reason why we having it at 5 and not 6?
We were working with Stephanie's schedule.
Based on my schedule.
Yes, yes.
I'd like to make a comment. I am getting feedback from people that they're concerned with the amount of times that we're moving the election board meetings. I understand that these are needed, but in other words, the people that are approaching me saying, how come it's not the regular Tuesday at 6 o'clock?
Moving in terms of time.
Yeah.
Having to reschedule, not moving
Exactly.
physical. I thought you meant physical location.
I don't know, I mean, have we recently done that? I think we've had a challenged hearing that that came at an earlier time, but it was publicized, way ahead of the week, the 7 days required, so, I think we've been pretty routine.
We have had special call meetings that are.
We have special call meetings that we can't get around, but,
Yeah. That's, in other words, I'm trying to communicate what I'm hearing, grassroots.
yeah.
And those election certification meetings basically always
Yes.
have to be different than our regular meeting because they have to come within so many days and hours after the actual election.
And that's consistent with.
I mean, I'm agreeing that sometimes there's really good reasons why you have to make a move, but it's frustrating for folks that want to come and then all of a sudden, the time's moved.
And a good suggestion there would be, just as a reminder to the public to, always, if they want to look ahead, look at our site. It's on the county website, and of course, when we send it out, it goes out to the media as well and to you all, but, and it's going out to the Republican Party, the Democratic Party. So we've really stepped up in our communication and we'll continue to do that. So anyway, that's just a good reminder to the public to view that.
All right. Any further discussion? All right, all in favor of rescheduling? 5-0 carries. All right, so next up is, resolution for duties delegated from the board to the election supervisor.
Your resolution a copy of the resolution can be found in the manila folder that's with you that's entitled Action Items.
Thank you. I knew I saw it.
I'm just gonna read it briefly, so it'll be in the record. Resolution, delegation of authority to election supervisor for Spalding County by the Spalding County Board of Elections and Voter Registration. Whereas House Bill 769 amended the local legislation governing the Board of Elections and registration of Spalding County. Whereas the board has amended its bylaws to conform with House Bill 769. Whereas the board believes that in consideration of the efficient running of the elections office and in keeping with the duties assigned to it by House Bill 769, that it's in the best interest of the public to delegate certain duties to the election supervisor. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Elections and Voter Registration for Spalding County that the following duties be assigned to the election supervisor. One, the selection, appointment, and training of all poll workers. 2, the assignment and removal of poll workers. 3, the preparation of agendas for meetings with input from the board and its chair. 4, the recording and preparation of the minutes of all members of the board. Preparation of the minutes, is it minutes of all members of the board? Is that of all meetings of the board?
That's it.
All right. Of all meetings of the board. Gaining approval of the minutes from the board, there we go, and making the minutes available to the public. 5, the preparation and posting of after agendas from each meeting of the board. 6, the procurement and purchasing of equipment and supplies not to exceed $500 without approval of the board. 7, the selection, hiring, training, supervision, evaluation, discipline, and removal of employees in the elections office with the assistance of Human Resources Director for Spalding County as necessary. Be it further resolved that the election supervisor may delegate tasks assigned to her to other members of the staff in the elections office under her supervision. Be it further resolved that this resolution shall be effective until renewed, amended, or revoked at the first meeting of the board in January of 2024. All of these items come from 769 that were falling under our purview. I don't see anything here that we haven't been operating under already. So this is just making it official. So
And the idea is that this would be an annual renewal, whereas currently this board delegated several of these duties to the election supervisor already, but that was about 2 years ago. And now that we have the new bylaws, this is just in keeping with that.
Okay. Do we have a motion to adopt the resolution? All right, James and Dexter, second. Any further discussion? All in favor? 5-0 carries. All right. Next up's approval of the IGAs with Spalding County Board of Education and the City of Griffin for conducting elections. So those are also in the folder. Not going to read all of those unless y'all just want me to.
No.
So, no? Oh, my God. Okay. Y'all should have already had these sent to you. Kim, is there any comments you want to make on these?
No, I guess I
besides-
made my comments a little premature earlier, but just again, a thank you to everyone that was involved. After looking at the IGAs and reviewing them, I saw how, of course, some things have changed. Dominion has come into play, but just needed a good review and an update. And so very thankful for all those who were involved in making it happen.
All right. Motion would be in order to approve the IGAs. Dexter, so moved.
Second.
James, second. Any further discussion? All right, all in favor? 5-0 carries. Great. All right, next up is supervisor compensation. Kim and I sat down and did a informal review, I guess about 2 or 3 weeks ago. The feedback that I got from four of 5 folks was, overwhelmingly positive. Everybody has something they can improve upon, but, and then, additionally, we're seeing Jarvis, we're seeing supervisor comp, even since Dominion has not really been looked at. I believe a request, a resolution requesting the Board of Commissioners was circulated back in, I think, either 19 or 20 for the prior election supervisor. And with just everything that's going on, as well as the comp of other counties with far, far fewer voters, far, far fewer precincts. I strongly recommend that the board take a look at trying to figure out how we can make a recommendation to the county to see if we can get the supervisor some additional comp. Yes, sir.
I would be agreeing with that and support that, because I remember when we were looking at a variety of candidates and how Spalding County was far below the norm that other counties were paying their election supervisors.
Yes, sir. It was drastically less.
Yes.
Okay.
I'd make such a motion.
What is the motion, Roy?
Motion is to increase compensation per the resolution that I think you just,
I didn't.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I didn't, yeah, so I can circulate the counties that we've got data on. And, any other like support, I think I've got the motion that, or the resolution that was, I don't know if it was passed or not for, on Marcia. I haven't looked back through those, but,
at any rate, that was 5 years ago, so.
Right.
I believe that in that situation, the request was made by the Board of Elections, but the Board of Commissioners did not agree to amend the budget to make that
That happened.
increase. But the request to the Board of Commissioners would come from this board.
Right, well, 769 specifically says we set the supervisor's comp, but then it also.
Subject to the
Subject to-
budgetary constraints of Spalding County.
There we go. So, all,
As a point of order, are you looking for a dollar amount, or are you looking for in principle?
so, I suppose we need to get in principle tonight, if everybody agrees, and then, we would, I suppose appoint someone to, take a look at comp data and, come back to the board with a recommendation.
Because you would need to provide the Board of Commissioners with either a percentage or a dollar figure.
Right. And I'm not prepared to throw anything out tonight on as far as that, but I think it would be, I think by next month, we'd be able to come up with something as well as rationale and data to back it up. Yes, sir.
Would it be beneficial, since we're looking at the compensation of the director, to also look at the compensation of the director's senior staff, for lack of a better word, so that we begin to plan in terms of what monies we need? Because it doesn't make sense to give Kim a raise, and then she's constantly losing people because they're not being compensated fairly. So I think if we're gonna look to compensate the supervisor, we should at least get a baseline on what the fair compensation would be for everybody in the office.
Okay, well, so specifically, this board only, we've already delegated away that authority for everybody else in the office. And I believe, Kim, have you done anything on, when you were doing budget for everybody in the office? Is this something that you've already got numbers on and looked at? That
I've
you
started
can-
collecting that for the
Okay,
various
so-
positions in the office I have.
So, I mean, I think it would be perfectly fine. So Kim's probably already got that data. We can get, combine that with data on her and make a ask to the Board of Commissioners to take a look at the whole office. I'd be totally open to that, Dex. All right,
So a motion in principle to increase or
To study.
to study the compensation of the
to
supervisor.
study the compensation of the supervisor as well as the rest of the staff, and come back with a recommendation to the board. Does anybody want to step up and do this?
I'll do it.
Roy just does everything. Okay.
Well,
All right,
it's gotta be done.
so the motion would be, as Roy stated, and then I would appoint Roy to do that study and come back next time.
I second.
All right, we got a motion and a second, and do we need to clarify the motion? You got it? You are great, way better than I am at this, okay? All right, any further discussion? All right, I'll get you what I've already got, and then Kim, if you wouldn't mind getting what you've already got for the rest of the staff to Roy, and, we'll take it from there. So, all in favor? 5-0 carries, okay, and, for the record, Chair is appointing Roy to spearhead this effort and come back next month with recommendations. Okay, Dexter had sent in a proclamation, that it's in the folder, right? Yep. Okay, Dexter, do you want to speak to it?
Well, Jim's, actually, we had a conversation earlier last week, and he told me about what was going on around the country, and I suggested we come to the board and present this proclamation for National Voter Registration Day on September the 19th, 2023. And it essentially, I'm not gonna read the whole thing, but it's a nonpartisan national effort to ensure that every eligible citizen has the opportunity to register to vote and make their mark on the future of our country. I spoke a few months ago about the culture of the Board of Elections, and I think we need to do more of these type activities to show the community that we want people to register and to be involved. And so I think this proclamation takes us in that direction.
Okay. Anyone else have any further comments?
Yeah, I just have a comment. 99.9% agree with everything on the paper, with 4 words jumping out at me that I'd like to discuss. It refers to our democracy, which I think we're a constitutional republic. If we could change those 4 words, then I'm 100% behind this document.
Change it to, what would you suggest?
To constitutional republic, which is technically correct.
Where are we in the document?
So the first line, whereas the right to vote is a fundamental cornerstone of our democracy. At the bottom, the last line, democracy depends upon the active participation of all citizens. And then on the last page, there are a couple of references to our government as a democracy. We're a constitutional republic. But with that change, I would be 100% behind this document.
I'm trying to recall where I first came across the proclamation. And I know I've seen it on the internet, and I don't even remember the.
Oh, I think it's well done. I think it goes to the heart of what we need to do. I just want to be accurate in our form of government.
Yeah, I mean, so it's mentioning everything in like lowercase, not the case, but I don't know.
I don't think you get around the first one, though.
Don't
That's,
get around the first one.
no, that is referring to our government as a democracy, which we are not.
I'm not really sure that if we polled the country, that people would see us as a republic. I think probably every advertisement we'll refer to as a democracy. And so I'm not really sure how the use of the word democracy goes against the spirit of the proclamation by using the word constitutional republic. I just don't think that most people see us as a republic. I think most Americans see this as democracy as an ideal. And that voting allows people to participate in democracy. Maybe it's word salad, I'm not sure, but.
I mean, so I mean, we are in the Constitution defined as a republic. So, yeah. I don't know that polling people changes what the Constitution says.
Well, I think that when you're talking about encouraging people to vote and register, and you get hung up on a word like democracy, because we are a republic, I think we see the voting process as the way for individuals to be involved in democracy, in the democratic ability to select who governs us, to hold individuals accountable. So when we speak of democracy, we're not talking about, the definition of who we are in the Constitution. We're talking about the ideal of democracy. And I think when you go to using republic, then you begin to separate people. And the proclamation is designed to bring people together under the guise of promoting democracy. And I'm not sure how not using that word helps us reach the aim of such a proclamation.
Fair enough. So Stephanie, for this, so if we pass this, we need to X out, it would come from the board and not from me, right?
That's right, it will
Okay.
come from the Board of Commissioners and will be signed by the commissioners and attested by the county clerk.
And so, thank you for that. And so then to further clarify, the proclamation would not be from the Spalding County Board of Elections, it would be from Spalding County Board of Commissioners, and we would simply be recommending that they proclaim this.
Correct, and typically what occurs when a board or an authority or a department of Spalding County asks for a proclamation or a citizen group, they would come to the Board of Commissioners meeting, and the Board of Commissioners would make a presentation of the proclamation to them. There'd be a photo opportunity.
Gotcha, okay. All right. Anybody have any further questions? Yes, sir.
Can we agree that the first line only, we would say, whereas the right to vote is a fundamental cornerstone of our republic, empowering citizens to have their voices heard, because that is what we are. In fact, in these other places, the strength of our democracy, that's not really referring to the government, but the first line to me is, and what makes us a republic is the fact that citizens don't vote directly on laws. The Senate and the House of Representatives does. I know that most people don't really care about that, but I do. I care a great deal about our country, and if we could change just that one, I'll vote for it.
I could live with that amendment.
Okay,
I can also.
okay.
How about you, Roy?
I'm hard over on our form of government's a constitutional republic. So it's fine. My feelings aren't hurt and I don't want to hurt anybody else's. I believe in this document. I think it's a good document. It just needs to be technically accurate, and so my vote will be for that, but that's okay.
Okay, so, all right, so we don't even have a motion yet, so we've just been talking. So, at this point, do we think we got a motion for a proclamation that can pass? Or for a recommend?
I think so.
The motion would be to
Can I make the motion?
recommend to the,
To the Board of Commissioners.
recommend to the Board of Commissioners to,
To issue a
to
proclamation.
issue a proclamation
for National Voter Registration.
for Voter Registration Day, as we discussed the changes.
I move that we recommend to the board, to the
Board of Commissioners.
county commissioners, that they approve this proclamation with the one change that we mentioned, which is change democracy in the first line to republic.
Okay. Do we have a second? We got a second, Jim. So James and Jim. Okay, any further discussion? All right, all in favor? All right, 4-1, Roy dissents. Are all opposed?
Yeah.
Okay. Figured you did, figured you went.
No
upstairs.
problem.
Dexter, did you send this in a Word document?
I did.
Okay.
It's in, did you not?
Yes, but just to make the changes to get to Kathy, I can do
Okay,
that.
that's
'cause I
what I
know-
was about to, that's what I was about to ask, okay. All right. Stephanie's gonna get this to you as it needs to be. All right. Wow. We hadn't even been here an hour.
We're not done yet.
Board member comments. Roy, you wanna start?
Yeah, and I do need to make a quick little update on, from the ad hoc committee. We have completed most of the scanning project of ballots. We're now trying to determine how many documents are already electronic and what the size of that file will be. As soon as we have that, then we'll figure out, will it stay on a county website, or will we need to get additional storage space somewhere to put that? I'll be coming to you for some technical advice, or you can tell me where to go. Figuratively, not literally. At that point, I think that project is in pretty good shape. We have found an anomaly, not ready to go into that in any great length, but as soon as we get a little better handle on it, I'll make a report to the board, and it has to do with some ballots that we found from 2020.
All righty. Dexter?
I just want to commend Kim on the job she's been doing lately on getting us these reports early. It really does help the meeting flow much more efficiently to be able to read the documents beforehand and get a good understanding of what's being presented. And I just want to say thank you to you and your office for doing that.
Thank you.
Something I neglected to bring up before is in the back end of the bylaws is a date of approval, and then there's signatures. So at some point, the four of us need to sign, 5 of us, I'm sorry. And also, I hadn't given any thought as to where is it stored. In other words, it's got to be archived someplace. And
We can put these on the website, and we should, and a copy will certainly also be kept in the office.
Good, okay. Sorry, I didn't think of it before.
Anything else?
That's all.
Good, okay.
I want to particularly thank Jim for his work on the bylaws. I know he put a lot of effort into it, and sometimes it was a little frustrating, I think, but he did a good job. And Kim, as always, thank you.
The truth is, I think Kim and I and Stephanie had fun when we met together,
It was so much
and we
fun.
could negotiate. You know, oh, okay, you're talking about that, and I think that's when we turned the corner. So yeah, I only have good memories.
Then I should thank Stephanie, too.
All right.
we are.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm very much appreciative and thankful for everybody. I'm super glad we got bylaws, delegation of duties, feel great about that. And Kim, I know things aren't easy right now, but keep on chugging, and we will, hopefully, Jarvis and some of all the other stuff, hopefully they won't keep piling changes on top of changes, but
We'll keep our fingers crossed.
yeah.
Just a quick reminder, I always have one more reminder for you, just in an act of continued transparency, there is a financial report, if you're interested in reviewing it, in the left-hand pocket of your binder, okay? Thank you.
All right. All right, with that, do we have a motion to adjourn? Dexter? Jim? All in favor? 6:57, we stand adjourned. Thanks, everybody.